Welcome back once again to me babbling on about some vintage items that I just recently bought, and more specifically, military, because that's what I like. I like military stuff. I was in the military, paratrooper ranger, so that's the type of stuff that I personally collect and been dealing with since, gosh, the early 90s. But once again, I got burned, and this has been happening quite a bit lately. It seems, just within the last couple months, where people are listing things, they're using the improper terms of what it is. They're not displaying all the damage. They're leaving it out of the description. And I should know, because I've been dealing with this stuff for so long, to ask the right questions. But honestly, I've been getting a little lazy in doing that, and I'm ended up getting burned. And I'm going to show you a couple of those things and some other things that I just recently picked up. But first of all, I would just like to clarify that this is a World War II era laundry bag, or what we call barracks bag. Obviously, it's to store your laundry. This is a great example. I really like the the stenciling that's on the front of it. It kind of gives it a story. Here is another example of a World War II era, maybe even Korean War era, laundry bag or barracks bag. Now, just recently, I did a word search on Etsy, and this listing came up for a barracks bag. Now, I did not pay attention in the description, the drop-down description, of the size. I just saw barracks bag. I saw the price, which was reasonable for what it is, or what I thought it was, and I ordered it, and it came today, and this is what I received. Yes, not a barracks bag. This is a personal effects bag. Personal effects bag, well, is really for your personal effects. Let's say that you get wounded or killed in action, and the medics come to pick you up, pick up your body, whatever, get you back to the rear. This is where they would put your personal effects, like your wallet. Not that everybody would carry a wallet in combat, but things like a wallet, like jewelry, a watch. Your dog tags would more likely stay on you. One would, and probably the other be put in this bag. But this was put in the bag. All this stuff was put in the bag. It had a corresponding number to maybe a toe tag or something. I know that sounds a little morbid. And it would go with you, and they would know where to find your personal effects. Personal effects bag, not a barracks bag. So I paid too much for what this is. Now, I like the bag, and it was my fault, really, for not paying attention to the size that was pointed out in the description. But during doing the word search for barracks bag, and this coming up, and me not taking the time to, excuse me, read the description, yes, I got burned, and this is what I ended up with. Now, I'm happy with it. I think it'd make a really cool shaving kit, and it has some really great patina to it, but it is not a barracks bag. So that's the first thing that I felt like I got burned on this past week. Second thing, now if you've been watching my videos, you know I like Ike jackets. In my current collection, I think I have like 20 pieces or something like that. But saw this online, of course. Thought it was a great deal from the description, because it has a nice unit patch and a nice combat patch. So I jumped on it. I saw it was kind of goofy, because somebody just took a good conduct ribbon and stuck it on the pocket there, which things come, a lot of things on uniforms, especially World War II, on Ike jackets, they're on there wrong, and you can see that in the pictures, and that's not really what's important. As long as the patches are in the right place, you could move the ribbons around, or the other things that would go on there, the pin-on stuff, and that's not really that big of a deal, even though I thought this was kind of goofy. But I got this today, The good conduct ribbon is modern, not vintage, to World War II. Little did I know, because it wasn't really pointed out in the description or in the pictures, that the rank was only on one side. But I did find the rank inside the pocket, so I'll have to get the other rank sewn on. It is a vintage rank with the cheesecloth type backing. But what I did not know, excuse me, is of the excessive damage. Now, in the description, they did say a couple of moth holes. Now, we all know what a moth nip is on wool. You know, most of us who've been dealing with this type of thing or have gotten an old Pendleton shirt have seen a moth nip. These holes, and there's two of them, there's one there, and another one that's even bigger. There's another one here. These are not moth nips. I can stick my fingers through these. This is damage, total damage. There's another one on the other sleeve. Not only are there holes in this thing that you can put your fingers through, down here, this is ripped. There's a big rip on the back. There's all this wear to the edge, all this fraying that goes all the way through. There's other smaller holes that are around. These are not moth holes. We know what moth nips look like. These are just worn holes. And there's a bunch of holes inside the liner. So this thing, in my opinion, is basically, well, the patches are great. I could spend the money to have it repaired. It would never be a premium jacket. It's not even close to what it was represented to be. So look, when you go online to buy an Ike jacket, make sure that you, if you're not, excuse me, totally satisfied with the description, or if you just think that there might be an issue, you need to ask a lot of questions and make sure that you're getting what you're supposed to be getting. I've never had these many problems. I've been selling vintage military items since the early 90s, even before eBay was invented. So it just seems that, like I said, within the last couple months, that people are listing things and they're not paying attention. They either are using the wrong terms, they are not really showing the actual damage. So buyer beware. Make sure that you ask a lot of questions before you purchase it, because you know, I'm ending up getting burned. This is like the fourth time in this past month. Now, I could return it or I can ask for a refund, but really, I would have to probably pay for the return postage, which is just kind of heavy. You know, to me, it's not worth it. I'll keep it. It's something to talk about, but believe me, the guy's going to know on the other end about it. That's for sure. Another thing I picked up that came today that I thought was pretty cool was this vintage t-shirt. It's on a Hanes 50/50 tag. I don't know if you can see the tag. I just think it's cool. It's got cool graphics. It's a wrestling shirt. It's almost an extra large. I mean, it's an older extra large, but it's more in the large size. I think I might just keep this and not resell it. Let me see if I could put it in the window and get maybe a nice fade on it. I thought that was pretty cool. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, which I'm totally satisfied with, is this Marine Corps OG 107. What I like about it, and maybe some of you can clarify why it's this way, but it has the Marine Corps emblem stamped on it, which is a little faded. It has the person's name just kind of written in instead of an actual name tag. It even has a person's name in the collar. Obviously, I would think for, you know, laundry services. But on the back, which is what I think is cool, towards the bottom hem, is H Weapons Assault, so Heavy Weapons Assault. Now, I'm assuming that this is now I was in the infantry, paratrooper, ranger, all of that for 20 years in the Army. There was never a time that we had a field uniform where our position within the squad or platoon was actually stenciled on the back. So I'm assuming that maybe this was for training for students, maybe at a school or something, or maybe a college, a military college. So it's easy to see what that person's position was. Obviously this person was a machine gunner in an infantry type platoon, but in the Marine Corps, or maybe even in combat, that they had their position stenciled on the back. So out in the field, when there's a lot of movement during training or in actual combat, procedures, whatever, that you would know who the person was in front of you just by the word that was stenciled on the back of their shirt and what their position was. So I just thought that was interesting. Heavy weapons assault, which obviously for an infantryman in the Army would be the M60 machine gun, now the M249 machine gun. And I'm assuming that for a grunt in the Marine Corps it'd be exactly the same thing. But kind of a neat item, kind of near and dear to me because I was a grunt for years and years. I was also a machine gunner. I was also a weapons squad leader, and excuse me, went on to be a platoon sergeant, then a first sergeant, and et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, those things are the things that I picked up just recently, and I think are interesting. A couple of things I got burnt with, but I just wanted to share and give you just some food for thought when ordering stuff online. Talk to you next time.